Yeah.
Hey, let me get my swerve on real quick. Listen.
It's the perfect time and place for us to celebrate, So maybe we gon' celebrate. Pour up a little taste, Now go and hold your glass up, light another match up. Won't let this moment pass us, no way. Cause it's the perfect time and place.
Alright, so right now we're down here in the Grant Park area of ATL, here with two amazing, great black entrepreneurs. Why don't y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves?
So my name is Israel Wright, men's grooming specialist and owner of the Exclusive Experience Men's Grooming Spa out here in Grant Park at the Beacon. And yeah, I appreciate the opportunity and looking forward to shedding more light on what black businesses need and what black businesses are doing right now to change, our generational perspective.
And my name is Amber Nelson. They call me Ambi Inks. I'm a tattoo artist down at Atlanta Ink in Grant Park at the Beacon, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to be sitting here with you guys and having this great discussion.
I love your tattoos. Your tattoos
Thank
look
you.
amazing.
Got a lot of, at least more.
Nice. So yeah, if you don't know, this upcoming August is actually known as Small Black Business Month. So I wanted to do this documentary to kind of catalog what's going on in the world of black-owned businesses. There's a whole lot of misconceptions on what is a black-owned business and why they are so difficult in terms of sustaining not just success but actual patronage. So I'm gonna ask a couple questions along those lines so that we could give the audience more of a feel on why we're going so hard for black-owned businesses. So I've been coming to you for like the last year now. Getting my haircut all the time, always a great time, always on time, always doing things to like keep me coming back. So I know there's a whole lot of tools that we always talk about in terms of things that other people may have to help their own business versus being a black entrepreneur that we have to work a little bit harder for. Could you explain to the audience what that is usually like?
So, I mean, it's several different things that I'm sure all of us can attest to, just as far as like resources, accessibility, actually having access to certain networks of people or being around, multiple successful individuals. Like for us, it's really like we might be the most successful person in our family, or we might be the only entrepreneur in our family. So it's like we're the person that's setting the tone for what success looks like, and whether we have help or not, we're gonna figure it out regardless. And especially if you have children or you have people that are relying on you, it's a lot more difficult,
right?
Because now you have that extra responsibility on top of trying to be a successful business owner. Then you still want to be a successful parent or a successful son, daughter, whatever the case may be. So the pressure is a lot higher, especially with the lack of resources that we have and just the know-how and the education that we lack or don't get along the journey. It's a lot of trial and error, and some of us can't sustain, some of us can't get through it, especially at a time like a pandemic. Like if you weren't able to have the right resources or people in place, like you possibly could have been taken out of business forever.
Right. Oh, what way has the technology space played a pivotal role in helping you gain more traction and a lot more patronage? I built a website called Rebuild Black Business with a team of about 500 volunteer engineers, and is helping to catalog all the black-owned businesses in the whole country. So in what ways are technology improvements like that helping y'all compete against bigger, more established companies?
I want to say technology kind of adds fuel to basically resources. Because, you know, a lot of people live in underprivileged neighborhoods. They don't have access to a public library, or if they do, they got to get there some type of way. Well, the buses are crowded, and, you know, it's so many different things. So with technology being at the forefront of so many different things, we're able to, hey, I can airdrop you this brochure so you can learn this, or hey, I can email you this, or hey, I can, you know, we can get more information, more resources, more finances. You know, you got Cash App, Zelle, you got all these different things. We're able to help each other lightning fast.
I love that.
And it's also, I feel like with technology growing, it as a people, our conscience is rising with it. So the more tech savvy we get, and the more that we have hands-on different electronics and different platforms, I feel like we'll grow and we'll nestle together, and we'll be able to network without someone holding the door saying you can't come or you can't do this. Because when you're in this virtual world, it's a loophole, it's a pull, it's some type of thing you can type in to get to where you need to go, or find out what the hell it is that you need in order to prosper.
That part.
Exactly.
You pretty much just said what I was going to say, that you don't have the excuse of I don't know anymore.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You
We
can
don't
literally
have that.
Google anything. You can ask Siri anything. So you can find an app that has anything that you're looking for. And that changes the playing fields. But it's us understanding that the playing fields will change. Because a lot of black-owned businesses, especially older, more established, oh, I don't really, you know, do social media
Facebook
like
or-
that, or I don't really, you know, do, you know, the Instagram, and like that is free. Everything's free. And then if you
Especially
put money
Twitter.
behind it too, Twitter. Then when you put money behind it and actually understand marketing a little bit more, it's like it can help you grow so much faster and reach so many people. And that's usually the issue that a lot of people have. They don't have that reach. They don't,
Exactly.
you know, they don't have the access to all the different markets and areas, or I can only, you know, touch people that are 5 miles
And
away.
that's one thing I love about Black Twitter.
Yeah.
Black Twitter is a whole different
Yeah.
world.
It's
You
lit.
can be like, it only takes one retweet
Yeah.
to get me, and Black
then you
Twitter
boom,
is on
you're
it.
gone.
They're like, boom, hit her up, boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
It's like
I love it.
it's like our news. We're able to
Real time,
communicate with
too.
people
Yeah.
in Nigeria. We're
Yeah.
able to communicate with people over there in freaking Jamaica. Like, and all of these business techs from all over the world are just collaborating and making like different
Dope shit.
Yeah.
Dope
shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Dope
it's
shit.
crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy.
everybody, thank you so much for your
Appreciate
time.
you.
Let's
No
just do a
problem.
quick toast to, you know, a black entrepreneurship and black
Yes.
excellence.
Absolutely.
Drinking on, you know, a black-owned rosé and
Yeah, it tastes
black-owned
good.
whiskey.
Love it.
We're about to leave this location, like I talked about, and go to the gathering spot. So you may have heard me talk about the gathering spot a lot on Twitter or on IG. That's because they really out here doing the damn thing in terms of helping other entrepreneurs and helping other people strive to be the best versions of themselves in a community where people are doing it. So that's why I'm out here trying to actively do the damn thing, which is why I'm actively trying to help people with the connections and the resources that I have to help them build generational wealth, to help them feed their family, to help them just be able to move freely and expand their network and their net worth. And that is why we're going to the gathering spot next. And that's going to be the upcoming topic.
Back in, got a whole lot of rest on packs in. Get it for the low, but I'm taxing.
Here we are now at the place I've been talking a whole bunch about, the infamous gathering spot here in Midtown ATL. So here with me now, I got two great people that I'd like to introduce y'all to. How about y'all introduce yourself, because I don't think I could do y'all's biography any justice at all. So how about you, Andre? Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Andre Williams. I am the founder and president of Pivotal Wealth Management. So I'm a financial advisor here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm glad to be here, man. Thanks for being here.
My name is TK Peterson. I'm the co-founder of The Gathering Spot. So the proud co-owner of this business here. And I oversee our operations and finances. My title is technically the CFO. And I've been doing this since March of 2016. The Gathering Spot is a private membership club that is rooted in community and culture.
Nice. And like, I just want to point out to the audience at home that both of y'all have a finance background. So that's why I decided to interview both of y'all together, because this is the true money team. You know what I mean? And the topic is going to be about how we scale our black-owned businesses in a financial point of view to compete with other more established brands. Because I think both of y'all understand that. Because like you said, TK, you're one of the co-owners here of The Gathering Spot, a highly successful club. And then you over here, Andre, you help people like me grow our personal assets so that we could be better off, you know? So just to kick it off, what does generational wealth mean to each of y'all?
To me, generational wealth means being able to pass on opportunity that is core. So, generational wealth is when you're able to bequeath a home to someone when they graduate from high school or college and save them having to spend a little discretionary income they have into something that isn't an income generating asset in the future as opposed to something else. So being able to be gifted, your whole down payment on a home right after you graduate from school. And it's really about resources and opportunity, and that's what generation is.
So to me, generational wealth is really transformative. It's empowering, and it's something that frees the next generation from the same level of struggles or work. It's really a foot forward. Where we don't, oftentimes as African Americans, we don't think about the legacy of the family. In my profession, I hear a lot of people say, hey, I made it, they can make it. Sometimes it's I paid for school, so that's their starting line. So people have different perspectives, but I really want more of us to have the sense of leaving a legacy, because when you do that, we talk about the wealth gap or the need for access to resources. That's a way that you can actually make that happen by having an intentional effect of saying, I'm going to leave X amount to the next generation, pass on a business, an entrepreneur, the house, or being able to give that child a foot forward by putting the down payment on the home. That's empowering. We need more than our people.
So we often talk about obtaining generational wealth, but we don't ever talk about how do you actually take the steps to get that wealth. Could you explain from a professional financial advisor point of view what kind of steps you could do personally to obtain that, not just for you as an individual, but also for your business?
So it starts with a plan. Everything starts from the genesis of everything is what is it that you're trying to accomplish. You have to set the goals. You have the long-term goals, but you also want to have the milestones along the way. So from an individual perspective, the basics are a budget, it's a cash flow management. I make this amount of money. I can't spend everything. This is what I call a YOLO mentality. Sometimes it gets us in
YOLO
trouble.
mentality.
Yeah, we want to travel, pop the bottles. We're on Facebook with all the places that we look with. And sometimes that's the opportunity. Those dollars that you're using to spend, that's the opportunity cost that you chose to make those choices. But you can make better choices and say, how can I take these dollars to invest in myself as far as my learning, invest in my portfolio to grow my assets, or to invest in a business. And sometimes we need to be more cooperative with how we go about our business. So maybe I don't have all the resources or all the knowledge and expertise and skill sets, but I can get TK who's got some skill sets, and we can work together jointly to grow an enterprise. So it's really, it kind of starts with that planning process that dictates the decision to the path that you take going forward to actually create your own personal wealth and your business wealth.
That makes a lot of sense, because I was reading a post today actually from the other co-founder of the Gather Spot, Brian, where he talked about things that people think are taken for granted that they get access to. Not all black-owned business owners get access to as well, which is something that you probably know pretty well as the CFO with the COVID crisis going on. PPP was, one of the things where people think you just go into a bank and then boom, you're done. You know what I mean? But it's a whole different process, especially as a black entrepreneur. Could you explain to me some of the systematic issues that you had faced from a financial point of view as a Gathering Spots CFO?
I mean, from the outset, you got a disadvantage because of the community you come from, by the nature of the systemic oppression that we face. Because, the phrase that I heard one time is that cash is the oxygen for businesses.
Oh yeah, and, good one.
We just have less than everyone else. And so if you think about it from the beginning, if you wanted to be an entrepreneur, the first thing you need after you have your idea set is you need capital.
Right.
And research shows that most people, their initial capital comes from self and from friends and family. So if you're from a community, and this instance I'm from a black community where I don't have much personal wealth, and then my parents and grandparents and my immediate friends and family don't have much personal wealth, who's going to present the seed capital necessary for me to start my idea out? Right. So then you are forced into doing riskier activities or things that are more costly to get the financing.
Wow, yeah.
Then you go, some people, they may start off and they might get there's $200,000 to start. Jeff Bezos.
That's what Jeff Bezos said.
And, sometimes people point that out and then they say like, oh, are you upset that his parents can do that? No, like the point is that when people talk about things being self-made, there's not self-anything because we live in a society where we couldn't have even driven to this place if it wasn't for the government and all our taxpayers' money coming together to present the roads and the bridges and everything we have. So there's always a concert with other things. And the problem with the difficulty with coming from the black community or any other disadvantage is that we have a lack of capital. So from also to secure the funding that you need for business, then now you're using credit cards or personal loans that you get from places that are high interest loans. And there's so many things that you have to do. Everything that you really are not supposed to do to get financing for, we did to get business. Took out personal loans. Got more credit cards and maxed the credit cards out, doing whatever you can. And the risk there is that if this business had not worked out, I would have just ruined all of my assets and my personal credit.
Exactly.
But that's the risk that you have to take in this situation because you don't have that. So and to answer the question is how you get towards building your wealth. The steps to get there is that first, I just said, you need to be able to have a budget in place. Because a lot of times people say, lower income people need financial literacy. But it doesn't matter how well you learn math or how good you can do a spreadsheet if your expenses are X and your income is half of X.
Right.
Nothing is about to change.
Yeah.
So the first step is making sure that you have enough coming in to cover your expenses, and then from there you can save, and when you save it, that's when you can start to be and leverage your financial literacy and start to be more intentional on spending. And then you can go from one of the best things that I was taught was that you should be using your primary income and the saving and the overage from that to be purchasing assets. That's what you should use your primary income for savings and purchasing assets. And what you're supposed to get from the free cash flow from the assets that you bought from the savings or the extra, that's your discretionary income. And that's how you go about things. And that's all easier said than done.
It is.
And much more possible when you're privileged enough to have a decent salary coming in and to have some excess. Because like most people in this country, they can't take I think the research said a surprise $200 bill. And it's not most black people, it's just most people in this country. And the personal debt amount in this country is like 110% or something. Most people live on credit.
So I'm gonna close with this, and I'm just gonna say my favorite quote of: "To be an entrepreneur, you gotta be a little bit crazy because you often are up at crazy hours of the day, crazy hours of the night. You aren't working for any pay at all early on. You're just out here just trying to like, live out your dreams. But ultimately by you trying so hard and you trying to just prove to your own self that what you're gonna do to make yourself happy isn't what anybody else are gonna do, you will always be the happiest person in the room. Always. Thanks a lot. I'm so happy that we were able to talk today, and hopefully y'all's gems will get people on the road to black financial wealth.
You know I ain't lacking. Back in, got a whole lot of rest with no packs in. Get it for the low, but I'm taxing. One showing low when I try and get my ass in. High off the woods, I packed it. 3-5, so you know I ain't matching. Young nigga, they know that I'm having. Catch the players, I ain't talking about Madden.
So yeah, man, thanks a lot for having us here today. I've heard great things about your tea shop here, and I'm just in awe because a lot of people that are of color don't think about tea, like the art of tea. And I say it's an art because there's a whole like song and a dance behind trying to make good tea.
The perfect cup.
Right, the perfect cup. And there is such a thing as a perfect cup. So without further ado, let's just talk about who you are, what your business is, and where we are at right now.
No problem. So thank you for allowing us to be a part of this documentary. My name is Jermel Shelton. I am co-owner of Just Add Honey Tea Company. We are a local, when I say local to Atlanta, we're a local loose leaf tea company based here in the city of Atlanta. We have currently 2 spaces. We have a retail space located inside the Sweet Auburn Curd Market. And then this is our second location where you're at right now. And this is our Beltline location, which really acts as a tea house. We have now been in business, actually August will make 14 years we've been in business. I've been in business with my wife. So my wife is co-owner and she's actually the founder of Just Add Honey. She started Just Add Honey really out of necessity because a lot of places she was going into, she felt that she or we as a people weren't really being represented inside the tea space. And she knew that like herself, there were a lot of other African-American owned tea drinkers that enjoyed a quality cup of tea outside of your Liptons or your Bigelows or those kind of those large brand companies. Absolutely. So it was really just came out of necessity. She was trying to fulfill a void that she had, and she felt that other individuals, whether it be African-American, white, Caucasian, whomever, would enjoy a good cup of tea as well.
Obviously, y'all are still here, so congratulations.
We appreciate it.
But I often think about this statistic of 40% of black-owned businesses aren't expected to actually make it out of the pandemic. What was that shift like for y'all, and how were y'all able to do it and actually remain afloat now?
Well, I tell you, we honestly we give the vast majority of our credit to our customers that have been following us and supporting us for years now. They have definitely backed us and definitely made sure that we stayed in business. So when we first shut down the location, so again, this is our second location. We have a location inside the Sweet Auburn Curd Market, and this is our Beltline location. When we shut down the stores, we can only really at that point rely upon our online market. So one of the first things that Brandy and I did was try to figure out a way we can offer our in-store experience in the privacy of an individual's own home. So 2 good examples of what we did. I think we made a very strong pivot. Once a month inside of this location, we offer tea blending classes where my wife teaches individuals how to blend a tea. She goes over just the whole spectrum of teas, how to make your special blend. When that shut down, one of the things that we came up with, which I thought was brilliant on my wife's part, is we created a virtual tea blending class. So what we did is we started packaging and selling tea blending boxes. So our customers, regardless if you live in Atlanta or Seattle or wherever in the country you resided in, you were you had the ability to buy a tea blending box, and then on the first Sunday of the month, my wife taught a virtual tea blending class. So we had, I think our first class, she had roughly like 160 women. I say primarily women. There was a few gentlemen there, right. But primarily women that were in the privacy of their own home. And she was teaching a tea blending class upstairs, and that really was a way where we were able to bring everyone together. Where ordinarily, when we're holding our tea blending class, we only can have maybe up to 20 individuals because it's inside the space. Mm-hmm. But because of the pandemic, which is a plus, it allowed us the opportunity to hold a tea blending class with a much larger audience, an audience that normally would not have the ability to come into Atlanta.
Gotcha. Well, I think every time I smell this Georgia, I'm gonna just think about the time that all of us spent together here today, because this was great. I gotta have this at the house now, man, and I am honestly looking forward to our audience and our viewers actually coming on y'all's site, having a party, and just trying to bond over tea, and at the same time helping out a black-owned business.
Absolutely, man. We greatly appreciate the love that you're showing, not only Just Add Honey, but some of the many other entrepreneurs, African American entrepreneurs in the city of Atlanta. We appreciate what you do, brother.
Thank you, Dad.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hey, yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for following along at home. If you've been keeping track, you know that Rebuild Black Business has over 14,000 black-owned businesses in our database today, and it's constantly growing. With that, there are tons of possibilities on the data that could be harvested out of our database to help make improvements for the technologies that are available to these black-owned businesses. That's why I'm happy to announce today that our API that we are using to access all this data is now available to you at home by going to api.rebuildblackbusiness.com.
And I'm slick talking my game off on that Mike Vick and 06 shit. You look at me like I read minds, like I'm Saint Nick with your wish list. See what I've been saying is your hips, they test my patience. I've been on this Uncle Nearest since the PM at the AM and shit. You know I'm faded, but then we end up laying, and I sweat all in your covers. I'm gon' tell you it's
the perfect time and place. Perfect time and place for us to celebrate. So baby, we gon' celebrate.